Hello, this is a little bit about modeling and mainly about this P here, Prosets. It's currently, and we're in early 2018, a plugin which costs about £40, developed by Mainframe North in Manchester. The same guys who developed the MASH, M-A-S-H network here. But this is not at all associated with Autodesk and Maya. It's just a plugin, and you find a link below in the description where I demonstrate how to install it and get it running. This is just a brief thing where a mathematical condition plays a role, and it's so fancy and so nice. So let's just to make it simple, create a plane. And we go to polyplane here and make it bigger. And we don't need to see the grid now anymore. And let's reduce the subdivisions to, say, 4 by 4. So we have a simple plane with only 16, is that 16, I think, faces. Okay, what we'll do now is we'll count spokes. A spoke is this one, this one, this one. If you center focus on this vertex here, this point has 4 spokes in 4 directions. This one has 4 spokes too. 1, 2, 3, 4. However, this one here has 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one has 1, 2, 3 only, and this one has only 1, 2. So we can pick any of them. Vertex, that's the right mouse button here, and I just pick this one, and we go to, for example, extrude. Actually, it's right here, but I prefer this icon here. So I extrude this vertex here. And here in the attribute editor or in the interactive pop-up window, which you might see in this case, you can change the length, you can make it much longer, much thinner or wider, and you can add a few subdivisions like these. So having this done, we go back to object mode, and if you have the Proset plugin installed, you would typically do this. You press and hold the Alt key and click on this icon. With this selected, you click on the icon here, and the dialog asks you select the history node to use, and we're going to use the poly extrude vertex 1 history. That's what we just did. Select it here and continue. Now the poke is gone. We have a flat surface, but here when we pump up the percentage, we can make it visible again. It won't do anything here because we need to select what kind of component we are talking about, and it's not about a face, it's about a vertex. So when I pump up this value now, they start growing on that plane, exactly as many as we have faces plus the borders. So it's about 16 plus something, maybe 25. Okay, the growing here, you can make it grow like row by row, or if you do this, it goes in stepwise. You can invert the selection like this, and we will reduce it to 0 now. Because we jump down here to the section which is called Vertex Only. And here we have a spoke mode, and the spokes are just the connections to the neighboring vertices, which I just showed you. And we want to make this work exactly. And currently it's a spoke count 4. Do you remember? The ones in the middle had 4 spokes. So they used to have 1, 2, 3, 4. This one, for example. So we're fine here. Do we have any with 5? Let's enter 5 here. No, we don't. And how about 2? Well, minimum is 3. So exactly 3 are here. I don't know why the 2 doesn't work, because the corners are really 2 candidates for 2. But this doesn't work. But anyway, these are the 3 ones. This vertex, for example, right here in the center has 1, 2, 3 spokes. That's why this is happening here. You can also select more than 3, more than 4. There's nothing left here. So this is a way to play with these things. You can create a fall off, and the fall off is empty here. Right mouse click, add. That's all you need to do. And the fall off node, if you don't see it, you have to scale it up like this, and then you can move it around in the scene like so, and it will, in this case, produce this one and produce this one, and when you go here it produces those. But the whole process with the fall off object is much more interesting when you have more complex geometry, and that's one of the strengths and basically the paradigm of the Prosets. It works with a history, the poke history. So let's select this one and go back into the history of the poly plane here, which we created with that width and height and with only 4 subdivisions. So let's increase the subdivisions now, and you see that the Prosets pokes work just nicely. And now when we go to the Proset 1 and let's deactivate the Vertex Only thing, so we have only these things working now where the manipulator sits, and you can move it through the scene all the way there, and you can add another manipulator if you like. Just right mouse click, add another fall off object which sits here, and I'll scale it up. I wonder why it's so small, and all of a sudden these things here start growing. You can choose instead of the sphere, you can choose a cube or an NURBS curve particles or a mesh, whatever. So now I just scale the cube here, and now I rotate it like this, and I get all the different kinds of selections. The objects are really, really complicated looking, and I show you an object which I just started to. I was quite surprised about the complexity, and it took ages to render really in Arnold, but it looks very funky. It's here in my blog. Well, I'm not getting paid from them in any way. I actually paid for the Prosets plugin, and in the introductory phase where it costs £20. But you see here it's a highly complex thing which I created from a pretty simple object, which you'll see in a second when I scroll down. And here you see the complexity. It's half transparent here. The shader is half transparent. It's an Arnold surface shader with lots of transparency here. Just one light in the scene, which is the physical sky, which wraps around the whole scene. There's a detail of the one up here. It's this part here. And this is the same object with a different shader. It's an opaque shader. And there's a detail here. I use 2 Prosets in this case. One is poking out and the other one is pushing in. And here you have the original, which is a super shape, a pretty simple super shape really. And this is what the Prosets did with it within, say, 3 clicks, I would say. And here you have turntable animations about the 2 objects, the very simple one, the starting object here. And here is the complex object, which really takes ages to render with nice textures, etc. But you see the complexity, and it's randomization and the things which poke out here. I think it's only the starting point for this kind of modeling technique. You can use it very subtly, and well, you probably have the better ideas than I have. Okay, have fun. Bye.